Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Neverest, and I'm back with another video. You're gonna have to listen to me eat a little bit. Recording this while I've got dinner. So before we get into it, I wanted to go into the VShojo situation, and we've all by now probably seen this. And there's a lot of ideas going around that he stole the money and whatnot, in fact, from Iron Mouse's charity. And in fact, the um, community note seems to confirm that. But we'll push that to the side for just for a moment. Um, and I wanted to share my thoughts about this. And um, people have said that this apology, this statement, is like passing the buck, no accountability, and that's not how it reads. Unfortunately for the detractors, that's not how it reads. He is taking responsibility, maybe a little bit of like damage control. Um, you know, this whole paragraph down here is basically just CYA. But looking at the rest of it, so the company was in financial trouble. They raised around 11 million to pursue bold talent first approach in VTubing, blah blah blah. We all know that that's the talent first approach is the only thing talent first was about. I think was letting the talents keep their own IP. So that was about it, especially with what we're going to see comes to light afterwards. Um, However, he says, despite all our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and eventually we ran out of money. So that sounds to me like we expanded too fast, too much, too quickly, and ran out. Um, and then there's this whole paragraph here. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. So this here in the community note would seem to indicate that he knew it was for the charity. So here's what I think happened. I think, and I'll back it up with inference here. He says, at the time we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs. So what I think happened was like, hey, that $500,000 that Iron Mouse raised for a charity, let's use that to cover our costs and fundraise. And then on the back of that, when we make it all back, we can then pay it back, and no one's going to be the wiser. Essentially, it's basically putting the 500 for taking the 500, putting it from basket A into basket B, and then when basket B has 1 million, you take 500 from basket B and put it back in basket A, right? So yeah, that's probably what happened. Um, is it fraud? I don't know. It's not exactly ethical, I don't think. Um, but if that's what happened and it worked, nobody would have known, right? Um, then he says we were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts, and I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. So yeah, that's what I think happened. Is he passing the buck? No. Is he just trying to cover his ass? Probably. And based on this paragraph alone, he's probably under investigation. So we're going to move on to some Rev says Desu. That's my thoughts on it, by the way. I think it's a perfectly fine statement. He doesn't acknowledge anything wrong that went on with the talents. That's it's neither. Unfortunately, in this sort of statement, the conduct regarding the talents is neither here nor there, because the main issue is the company shutting down. So there's no need to acknowledge, from that point of view, there's no need to acknowledge that they treated the talents like absolute garbage. They the, from his perspective, all that anybody needs to know is we ran out of money, we're shutting down. That's it, and that's effectively what he communicated here. So that's pretty much my thoughts on his statement. We're going to move on to Rev says Desu here, where well, I haven't watched it obviously, but um, let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So, what if I told you the VShojo situation has somehow gotten worse? Well,
I
you'd
believe
probably
you.
believe me because that's pretty much the case every single day since the implosion of this company started just
implosion, one of the rare times people actually use that word correctly, because that's basically what happened. It could also be an explosion, given the fact that the talents all jumped ship. But I think implosions, it sort of happened. It sort of imploded and then exploded.
Just a few days ago, and today is really no different. We're going to be looking at some more trouble for the leadership of VShojo, including some potential state and federal charges. And one of the people in that
Oh,
management group is an officer who left 2 months ago and then tried to join the mob going after VShojo. However, now that a lot of NDAs have been broken, former talents are coming out and sharing their experience with this particular officer and how he is just basically a giant creep and someone who's in a lot of hot water right now. So let's
oh
begin
dear.
with the CEO of the former company, VShojo, the Gun Run. Now, this guy has been facing a lot of heat since
It's a
day one
strange
of this
name.
VShojo
Mm. Oh, come on.
situation. He has been the person people have been looking at. He is the captain of the ship. And I regret to
No
inform
idea
you
what
guys, I
happened
have
there.
some very sad news. Twitch has removed the Gun Run global emote. I know a lot of people are really disappointed about this, but
I
yeah,
don't
I had to
care.
share that with you guys first.
I'm
But
sure he's
yesterday
being
we talked
sarcastic
about
though.
in our video this message that VShojo released. This is their official statement from Gun Run himself, and he says many things, saying that VShojo has failed and he mismanaged the company and that they're shutting down and that they had all these funds they couldn't get loans to make up for. And basically, he spent all the money the company had, including the revenue that
Sorry,
was supposed to go
was
to
just
the
checking something
talents
there.
and also the charity money. And he tries very hard in this paragraph right here, while basically admitting he misappropriated funds, to say, oh, I kind of like didn't know that $500,000 that was supposed to go to charity. I didn't know that was like for charity, and I just kind of spent it on other.
Yeah, so initially about that, I thought that it was this was before the community note that would be posted later. That pretty much shows he knew. So before that, I thought, since the company was struggling for money, it's quite possible that their accounting system was up the creek, that their accounting practices were not particularly good, and so the money for Iron Mouse's charity was misallocated. Sorry, not misappropriated, misallocated. So clerical error, and then they spent the money. But then the note came up, and I thought, okay, maybe he thought, let's use the money. It's a huge amount. It could bankroll our fundraising, and if it works, we make it back, and then some. Then we just quietly pay it back. It's not exactly ethical, but I can see where they were going there. I don't necessarily approve either, but there's panic stations, so I guess again, I don't. There's no way I can know if that's what happened or not.
Things. Yeah, really bad move. Of course, this is referring to what Iron Mouse said in her video explaining why she left VShojo, where she
Yeah,
mentions
that
the
was about her subathon.
$500,000 she raised for the Immune Deficiency Foundation through her subathon last year. That 500K never made it to that organization. And of course, we now know it was spent on other things in a very, very bad decision by Gun Run and all of the management over at VShojo. Now, in this statement, they try very hard.
Yeah, so I just want to check something. What is Iron Mouse's charity most recently sitting at? Embracing 1.29 million. It's actually less than I thought it would be by now. But given that it was only started like this week, $1.3 million in like 3 or 4 days is insane. Back
Hard
to
to
Rev.
act like they had no idea what was going on, where this charity money came from. The Immune Deficiency Foundation, who's that?
Yeah, I don't agree that the that's definitely some cover your ass time. That's definitely like, oh well, we didn't know. Nah, you knew. I don't agree with that part. I don't think he didn't know.
Subathon, huh? Yeah, well, there's a crazy paper trail. There's a crazy trail of activity showing that VShojo, and in particular Gun Run, knew this was going on and were actively cheering on this charity effort by Iron Mouse. Beginning with this, they released a press briefing. They
Haven't seen
actually
this.
released a press briefing to the public talking about Iron Mouse's success in her subathon, even mentioning that she is the now, at the time, the #1 all-time sub to Twitch streamer on the entire.
Okay, but this does in nowhere, from this screenshot at least, nowhere does it mention that it was for
Platform.
idea for
They were
the
so
Immune
proud of this,
Deficiency Fund
they
or for a
released a
charity.
press statement and even talked about the charity. And then we go further. We see the gun.
So if it was, if that's, so obviously, we're going to go back just a couple frames. Okay, maybe. So I haven't seen this particular press statement or article or whatever it is, so I didn't know about it. So obviously I haven't read it, but if you're going to look at the screenshot, and this is where people also like get it wrong, because they'll look at the screenshot and like I did, be like, well, it doesn't mention a charity stream. Yeah, read the article. And although I didn't see it, he then said, okay, it mentions the charity stream. So yeah, then I've been like, okay. But that's why I never just look at things
To
like that.
Twitch streamer on the
Let's go back.
reposting this
Ugh,
Ludwig tweet talking about the fact that this raised money for charity, that half of the money was going to charity from the subathon. Here's another retweet from the gun run directly from Iron Mouse, where she talks about the subathon ending, right? And the success of it. And of course, we have this photo right in front of the Immune Deficiency Foundation, their logo right there. There he is, standing right next to them, right next to Iron Mouse. He knew everything that was going on with this, okay? And he knew how important this was to her. And it gets worse.
So yeah, like I said, he saying that it's that he would later learn it was for charity. That's definitely CYA.
First, one last one. Oh, geez. We're going to scroll down and see Gun Run, aren't we? Yup. You did it, Mouse. Yeah, he says that as he takes all the charity money and basically does whatever he did with it.
Yeah, so the fact that he knew about the charity money just kind of like, it makes me think that they spent it trying to fundraise, hoping to cover up, hoping to get it back and then some, so they could quietly squirrel it back and then make the payment to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Again, I don't know that that's what happened, but I'd rather assume that than assume he's a criminal right off the bat. I'm sorry, I'm devil's advocate like that. I assume innocence rather than malevolence straight away. It's for an investigation, and it's for a criminal investigation and financial audits to determine whether he's actually a criminal or not. But habeas corpus, which is the right to innocence until proven guilty, is still a thing in my mind. So,
well, it certainly didn't go to the charity, and it certainly didn't go to Iron Mouse. That's all we know. But of course, legal mindset. An actual attorney is weighing in on the situation. I guess being an actual attorney is probably more of a qualification than what it appears to be at any sort of counsel at VShojo, because apparently one of their lawyers doesn't even have a active license. It expired. This is a joke. But legal mindset would weigh in on this and talk about just how serious this is in terms of potential state and federal laws that were violated. But also keep in mind, it's not just Gun Run. A lot of people are going to focus on him, but that doesn't mean all the other officers and higher ups at VShojo are off the hook.
Yeah.
Leaving 2 months ago doesn't get you off the hook. This thing has been going on for a while, at least in terms of the people not being paid, and also in terms of the charity misallocation. This is something that was done in the past. So if you were there as an officer 2 months ago and you quit, you're not necessarily off the hook. When the investigation looks at this, they get into the emails, they get into the documents, they get into, okay, what happened here? There at some point is going to be revealed a number of people, not just the gun run, but definitely including the gun run, that were involved in taking those funds and putting them other places. There were discussions that were had. So, and even if they were had in person, someone's going to crack, someone's going to break. No one wants to go to federal prison. This is wire fraud. This is misallocation of funds. This is violation of various others.
Okay, so he confirms it's wire fraud, which then forces me to amend my entire theory and my entire stance and say if it's wire fraud, again, it's for an investigation to determine, but it looks like wire fraud, and therefore it is a criminal offense, and so he should be punished to the fullest extent of the law, because there's actually no excuse. He doesn't really have a place to hide in this regard. So yeah, you see how things change as you go along.
State and federal laws, this is no good. Right, and assuming once again, assuming on the face that all the facts we have are true, which I have no reason to believe because they've confessed this now. They've said no, we actually misallocated the funds. There's no further proof needed other than getting into who's liable.
Now you see a particular officer mentioned in that video, and you'll see throughout the rest of this video, this guy's going to be the highlight. So you see this individual, Mo Tendu, better known as MTD, as we'll see throughout the rest of this video. This is someone who left VShojo in May. They made a statement here on Twitter. It's their pinned tweets. They talk about all the wonderful memories they had with VShojo back then as an officer, a higher up in the company, saying they had such a great experience with VShojo. And again, this is just 2 months ago. But then, when everything starts after the Iron Mouse video, he jumps in and says, "Nah, bro, what the absolute F," and then tags his former CEO, the person he used to work for as an officer at VShojo. And of course, you can see the community note saying this user was included in many of VShojo's mismanagement issues and has been called out for harassing talents. Wow, color me shocked. I can't believe this just happened. But yeah, this guy tried to basically join in on the mob going after VShojo. It was like, yeah, I'm part of the team, guys. And people took a step back and said, wait a second. The issues going on with VShojo, they've been happening for years under your management. You were an officer in the company during this entire thing. And now you're trying to play on the side of the mob going after VShojo.
It's like South African politics back in 2018, if I can just do a quick segue. Back in 2018, Cyril Ramaphosa took the presidency from Jacob Zuma, and people were like, he's going to fix the ANC, he's going to end corruption, and I'm like, he's been the VP for like the last 4 years, and he's been a senior member of the ANC since like way back when. He knows about the corruption. It's not like he didn't know about the corruption, and as VP he had the power to do something about it, but he didn't, which means he ain't gonna fix nothing when he's president. And no, it's the same here. And guess what? He's now they're trying to get Ramaphosa out. So yeah, South African politics in a nutshell.
Yeah, not so fast, buddy. And basically, this guy, he self-inserted into the situation to try to get clout on Twitter, and now he put a giant spotlight on himself.
Yeah.
And people are digging through this guy's account, and now the talents are sharing their experiences with him because he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and it's bad. It's real bad, ladies and gentlemen. We'll begin with this photo. I'm telling you, man, the Sonichu medallion, it claimed another soul. Here this guy is.
What?
That's our MTD. I don't know what he's wearing.
Which of them is MTD?
On his face. It looks like he's wearing Miku's panties on his face. But he's masked up. Okay, that's a bit of a joke. It's 2018, yeah, before the pandemic and everything, but it's a convention. People wear masks. But
yeah.
Anyways, he has a lot more to worry about than wearing a silly mask. Vebe, who's a former VShojo talent, would come out with a lengthy
you're
statement
not following Vebe? I'm
absolutely
disappointed.
chastising this guy. It's bad. She begins by talking about the company, but eventually we'll get into this officer and how he is basically, according to her, a creep who has been told to basically stay away from the women within the company.
Damn.
Okay, so let's begin with the statement. So, as she said,
I glossed over this statement when Vebe wrote it, and didn't. I read it. Must have tried reading it like 3 times, and my mind just sort of wandered each time. It's unrelated issues. Not that I was disinterested. It's just unrelated issues.
As our NDAs are now void. Why I left VShojo. Back in 2023, VShojo tried to bully me into one of their most predatory contracts that I've ever seen. When I tried to ask more about it, their COO got extremely hostile with me and refused to answer any of my questions And so I had to hire a lawyer in order to get some clarification. During the talks, it became clear that VShojo would rather let me go than to take less away from me. They were all...
Which is stupid because, as Han from Tokyo Drift said, 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So if they would rather let Vei go than take less away, then at least you're still getting something. So that's stupid and short-sighted. And if that was a common contract thing, it's no wonder a bunch of their bigger talents, namely Silver Veil, Nyanos, and Vei, it's no wonder the three of them left.
Ultimately wanting me to give up more than half of my sponsor revenue and over 60% of all merch sales. All I asked from them in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic.
Okay, so VShojo, here's what you can do. You can have your 60% of sponsor revenue and 60% of merch sales, but don't take anything from the revenue I'm getting through the sponsors from Mythic. I don't know. It seems a good deal to me.
Talent being
as that cut was already being taken. It's like, yeah, so this revenue is already being taken from me on one side. I don't need you guys still getting your finger in a pie into that pie either. Otherwise, there's not going to be enough for me. So you can have your 60% of these two revenue streams, but I get to keep my cut from that one without you touching it. I don't know. Seems a good deal to me.
An organization that helps people get various in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic. Mythic Talent being an organization that helps people get various sponsorships, basically, right?
Okay.
But as that cut was already being taken, they said no. They want it all. Remember in the final notice, their final statement on VShojo's page, they said, like, we gave generous cuts. Does this sound very generous? This sounds as bad as Niji Sanji at this point.
It doesn't sound very good, no. But in Vei's particular case, I don't think it's terrible considering there's revenue coming in that is unaffiliated with VShojo. So yeah, she may be a VShojo talent, but she was part of Mythic beforehand, I believe, and therefore VShojo has no legal right to her cut as a Mythic talent. So there's a bit of a conflict of interest on Vei's part there, but yeah, again, I don't think it's a bad deal for VShojo. It's not particularly good for Vei taking 60% of two income streams, but yeah, just not handled particularly fair.
But anyways, and so I asked to leave after being treated like I was disposable in our talks. They basically made it seem like they were my employer and that they were the reason for my success, that I owe them and that I should be happy to give them my money.
Yeah, no, even a literal who like me knew about Vei before she even joined VShojo. So I was watching her since 2021 and she only joined like a year later, or a year or two later. So VShojo is definitely not the reason for her success.
In order for me to leave, they demanded I sign an NDA that prevented me from speaking to any other talent about it. I could not say why I was leaving. I could not say what the terms that I was saying no to were.
I don't understand.
I even got in trouble for advising them to hire their own attorneys. They would watch my streams, read my Discord, and then threaten to sue me. If I said anything that hinted towards how I really felt about the company, I was threatened with a lawsuit. Wow. Yeah, basically trying to intimidate her and even threaten legal action, trying to weaponize the law system to make sure she keeps her mouth shut. Anyway, she continues, another one of their leave terms was that I would announce both me and Silver on the same day in order to minimize the damage to their company. Their COO has begun to push a narrative on 4chan. Yes, I'm serious, on 4chan and other social media, that I am leaving because I plan to join OTK and that both me and Silverveil were troublemakers, so they were letting us go. Later, I found out that Nyanners wanted to leave around the same time due to also being unhappy with the contract.
Yeah, I mean, if the contract was anything like Bebe's, then it makes sense. But if that's their standard contract, I wonder why the others stayed so long.
But was told she couldn't because it did not fit their narrative that they were pushing internally and externally. The amount of hate we've gotten over leaving, from fans calling us greedy bitches to people saying we're abandoning our friends and tossing aside the company because we're not successful enough.
Yeah, all right, that part I have a major issue with, not because I doubt it's true. I can actually very easily believe it's true. I have a problem with fans going after the talents. Um, she said there, she said we've gotten the amount of hate we've gotten over leaving our fans, calling us greedy bitches, from fans calling us greedy bitches. Um, you know, there's no need for that. Yeah, and something I get a lot of heat for is the fact that I hear something like that and I'm thinking, okay, what's the reason? Like, okay, so Vebe and Silverveil left VShojo, and I don't remember that if we were really told what the issue was. And so my first thought was probably contractual disputes. You know, maybe the contract, they just didn't like the terms of the contract. There's nothing wrong with not liking the terms of your contract. Um, I'm not sure if it's the same, if it's universally the same, but in most places I've ever been, when I've had to sign a contract, I look through the contract, and if I don't like something, I put a line through it. No, I don't like this. Then we renegotiate. I don't know if Ebe did that. It sounds like she did, like right in the beginning, and they just couldn't come to an agreement. And if it was the same with Silvervale, then you know what? There's nothing wrong with leaving the company for the bad contract, and it's wrong for people to go out and give them hate and accuse them of being greedy bitches to people, saying they abandoned our friends no, they're probably still in discords together, man. It's like the Hollow Live girls that graduated: Sana, Mume, Gura, Fauna, all the JP ones that have been terminated, graduated, like Aqua. She's probably in there. I'm pretty sure Coco slash Kson is still in some discords with these, and probably in DMs, if not actual full-on Discord channels. So, yeah, they're not leaving. They're not like abandoning friends because we weren't successful enough. Or what? Because we're. Oh, yeah.
Stuff was effing
Right.
painful. Not being able to say anything sucked. So the thing about Nyanners
Yeah,
being
I
basically
don't doubt
forced to
that.
stay with the company, even though she wanted to leave because they
Hmm.
didn't want them all to leave at once because it would make the company look bad, is something that is corroborated
Well, how good's the company looking now, huh?
with Silvervale's account that we looked at yesterday. And also when they left, yeah, a lot of people were really mad.
I
But I
wasn't.
remember the one thing I do remember is when they left, one of the first things Vebe said was the word retard, and people went
Yeah.
absolutely insane. People got so mad. All the people who were like, these wholesome Chungus VShojo fans, they turned on her instantly. And that's not even scratching the surface of people saying all these things she listed down here. But, anyways,
Yeah.
moving on.
Moving on.
I only found out that I didn't get paid for any of my sponsors after I had already signed the NDA. After 2 years, I have still not been paid fully back. Another person added to the list, by the way.
Yeah.
To add insult to injury, they also demanded I had to pay them back 10K for some of the anniversary assets, which, when they sent me back months later, were half finished. Despite all
Oh
that,
dear.
I've had immense faith that the company has gotten better over the past 2 years. I assumed they rewrote their contracts if they're losing 3 people due to them and seeing all the new talent join. Clearly, this was not the case. Now, this is the
Yeah.
best part. Okay, the fun facts she lists here. Their company lawyer has an expired law license. He literally does not practice law anymore, yet he was our point of contact for any legal help we needed.
Okay. Well, sorry. On that, he could consult at best, but he could not practice law without a lawyer license, so he was more like a consultant. So I can get that. It's still weird, but yeah, It's true. It's weird, but it's like, it's whatever.
That is embarrassing. You
Yeah,
couldn't even find
embarrassing,
just
but
like a random lawyer. Like you couldn't find just a licensed attorney.
no, they're expensive.
That's how low the bar is. But the next one says they actively pitted us against one another during my time there and compared our success to others. They tried enforcing streaming schedules so that our view count would look better due to less overlap. They would always talk smack about other VTuber agencies. They literally would spend company money to get a tiny dig at them, especially Hololive. Wow, color me shocked. It literally lived rent-free in Gunrun's head. They were convinced Hololive was over when they signed Kason and Nazuna. Once again, Hololive wins by doing absolutely nothing. Just continuing on and watch.
Yeah, and Hololive just started, what? They got Hollow Justice, which I think is the latest. No, it's Hollow Justice. There's Flow Glow that came in recently as well. You know, they're expanding, but it's they're doing super well while VShojo is closing.
Watching all these other companies shoot themselves in the foot. But here's the next one saying our previous talent manager got ghosted for 6 months by Gunrun, told not to do any work for us, and then got fired for not doing anything. During this fiasco, we weren't able to get any assistance.
I don't understand that at all.
MTD got reprimanded for being creepy to us. Got told not to message us privately. Go figure. And she continues on, and that's the officer we've been talking about earlier in the video.
Yeah.
She continues on saying, I have proof from other streamers attending their IRL parties that MTD would actively smack talk me after I left the company to paint me in the worst light imaginable. Don't know why you're acting innocent on Twitter pretending you weren't aware of anything. Can't wait to see all the stuff that comes out about you because there's loads. But those aren't my stories to tell. Yeah,
it's gonna get worse as the stories come to light if they do.
It's about to get a lot worse for this person. And guess what? More people would weigh in, but
I'm sorry Vebe had to deal with all that shit. I really do. I wish that VShojo had been better to her.
It all makes sense, right? As pointed out here, right? Former co-founder, this officer, MTD, saying, I am legally allowed to simp for our own VTubers, asking for a friend. And then says, I am. This was not a Freudian slip, I swear. Yep. Never hire a simp to work for a VTuber agency. Not good. No good things come of that. But here's a statement from Nyanners responding.
I haven't seen this one, so I'm interested to see how this one goes.
To Vebe's post, saying MTD, the officer, had the audacity to talk smack about you to my face at a party the year that we all left and painted you as some kind of a conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving VShojo just because you wanted me to join OTK because her boyfriend Soda Poppin' is part of that org or for personal gain or some stuff.
Why? I don't get it. Why? Like, even as the outsiders looking in as we are as fans, we know that Nyanners and Vebe got along famously. There's plenty of stream evidence, there's clips all over the place. You don't have that sort of like banter and chemistry with somebody you don't like, you know? So I don't get why he would do that. You're not going to break them apart, that's for damn sure.
He got uncomfortably close and up in my face and was like, come on, I know the real reason you left. I know it was because of Vey. She talked you into it. Wait a second. You're telling me this guy was acting creepy? You're telling me this guy right here. I can't believe it. Anyways, etc. And it was infuriating. I know he's spread that same stuff to other staff talent and other industry people. Seeing one of my closest friends get dragged through the mud like this for years was awful. You did absolutely nothing wrong and had so much stuff flung at you just because they wanted to push a narrative to protect the company.
How'd that work out?
For him to act like he's completely blameless is insulting. He is a creepy MF, and there's a lot more, obviously, but a lot of it is also not my story to tell.
It really is going
This
to get
dude
bad.
has been absolutely obliterated, and I'm telling you, I said this on Twitter as well. The mountain of stuff that's going to be coming out about not just people like this, but VShojo as a company is going to be insane. Uh, all the lids have been pulled off. People are going to feel free to speak, and they're going
Yeah.
to feel very vindicated, and they're going to feel like they're going to be awarded to speak, right? People believe them right now because they know this company is a bunch of shysters and weirdos.
Well, and in terms of Bebe and Nano's stories, I've got no reason to disbelieve them. I've got no reason to think that it's far too detailed and far too authentic in its writing to suggest that it's not true. Besides which, I've got no reason to distrust either of them. So, and given the company's track record with the money and whatever, there's a lot you can infer about how things were run. So, yeah, um, people are going to believe them because there's no reason not to. Also, it makes hell of seriously good content.
And now it's okay, come out. Like, there's going to be so much more people have to say about this company. But one last reminder, because it is an active campaign. I announced it yesterday officially. We had the new summer drop with Advanced GG. New stuff here. 3 new flavor jars, including a rebranding of the Rev's Rocket Pop flavor. We have Rev's Shark Bait, which is a lemonade flavor, as well as Rev's Based Berry Blast, which is a berry flavored jar. We have hydration, energy, and focus, so you can get a jar that fits your needs. And also, we have some new summer merch, including a hat, a shirt,
Wait, that was
a berry
cool.
flavored jar. We have hydration, energy, and focus, so you can get
Did
a
the hat
jar that
change
fits
color?
your needs. And
Did I
also, we have
imagine
some
that?
new summer merch, including a
It
hat,
changed
a
color,
shirt, as well as
and
a tank
wow,
top.
that's very
And also, they
nice.
brought back one of my old ice shakers if you want to put
Nice.
uh, your flavor jar.
Can I just say, this stuff, according to me, is expensive as hell, right? $45 for the ice shaker, and yep, I think the lowest price I've seen is $29.99. Yeah, so $29.99. Let's check that. Let's just say 30 USD to ZAR. 532 Rand 76 cents. And then 45. 800 bucks. Like, that's really expensive for like that's
A
really
hat,
expensive. Like I get like 370 Rand a month. What's that up to? Let's just go here. 370. I get like $20 a month through government grant because I'm unemployed, and have been since like 2018. So like 370 Rand is $20, and 200 of it, let's say 200, goes to, like, more than half of it goes to my gym membership that I've fallen behind on payments on. So yeah, this stuff's really expensive for me, but um, yeah, if you can afford it, go for it. And don't forget to check out my links, Poggers and
a
Starforge.
shirt, as well as a tank top. And also, they brought back one of my old ice shakers if you want to
Yeah, yeah.
put your flavor jars in it, and high quality stuff as always. I'll put a link to this campaign in the pinned comment, and make sure to use code REV at checkout to get 10% off your total order. This is all available for a very limited time, so act
Yep.
now and take advantage of this very cool deal from Advanced GG. But that's
So,
going to do this
sorry,
video.
Rev, I
As
won't be
always, feel
doing. Sorry, Rev, I won't be doing that. But yeah, I didn't at least I didn't skip the ad part. Um, so yeah, the VShojo situation is a huge mess. Gunrun knew about about Iron Mouse's charity money. The money's been made back and then some, but that's not the point. Um, I'm going to share, but that's going to be that. Blah, blah, I can't speak now. I've not been in a particularly good condition lately. My mind feels like smoke that I can't take hold of. So, yeah, Maybe I need poggers. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I'll be putting a link to the original video here down below. I'm going to share Iron Mouse's Tiltify link here if you want to if you want to help there. Check the links for my poggers and Starforge as well. I'll be just covering those a little bit later, I expect. But yeah, you'll be helping me out with you'll be helping me out to no end with those. Um, if you decide to buy from me, use the code Neburos for 10 and 5% off Poggers and Starforge respectively. But that's going to do it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!